Okay, well, let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for our virtual caregiver conference, How Full is Your Cup? My name is Candace Christensen. I am the coordinator for the Caregiver Coalition of Northeast Florida, and I'm so happy to be here this morning, and I'm really excited for what we have in store for today's conference. As many of you know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and what better time to recognize what caregivers go through day in and day out, sacrificing time and energy and often sanity in order to keep their loved ones safe, healthy, and happy. So I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, you've got to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help someone else. But man, is that easier said than done. So today is all about you and your health emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And we're going to talk about caregiver burnout, building resilience. We're going to talk about art and self-expression as self-care and a lot more. I'm very excited. Before we dive in, I do want to share a short message from a couple of our very generous 2021 sponsors.
How's everybody doing?
Hey guys!
Hi! It's time to lean on each other.
All of you guys, so much great support.
And laugh with each other. Cheers! Let's do it together with caregiving chats and more. Come find us at aarp.org/near you.
My wife, I call her a drill sergeant. She gave me the inspiration to build myself up. I need to go on dialysis. Florida Blues, they gave my wife good information. What I ate, how she cooked, and everything. In fact, if I go to the store and buy something today, she'll get it and read it and say, you can't have this. That's why I think I'm where I'm at today.
We have some very generous sponsors this year. That includes our 2021 gold sponsors, Florida Blue, Baptist Agewell Center for Senior Health and Community Hospice and Palliative Care, and our renewing silver sponsor this year, AARP. So on behalf of the Caregiver Coalition, we thank you and we appreciate your generosity and dedication to caregiving. So a couple quick
How's everybody doing?
things before I hand it over to Michelle. This session is being recorded and we're going to be posting it to our website and our YouTube channel, so you can look out for that probably next week. We're going to keep everybody's microphones and cameras off except for the speakers. That is just to minimize distractions throughout the workshop. If you do have any questions during the presentations, you can type them into the chat box and I'll make sure that they get answered. At the end of the session, I'm going to put up a quick poll. You can let us know what you liked and what you didn't like, and we can make sure these workshops are the best they can be. And then lastly, in case we run into some technical difficulties, please be patient. We're going to try and resolve them as quickly as possible. So with that, let's get started. Michelle, I'm going to read a little bit about you while you pull up your PowerPoints. So Michelle is a health educator with Florida Blue. She is with the Better You team in the Northeast region at Florida Blue, and she has been in the health education role since 2008. She is a certified health education specialist and a registered yoga teacher. And in her downtime, she practices yoga and enjoys outside activities. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Michelle. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Candace. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. I'm really happy to be here today to talk to you a little bit about some self-care that you can start to practice during this pandemic. So we have all lived in a different world since the start of COVID-19 pandemic, and those of us who are older or who have chronic conditions maybe have been isolated from family members and grandchildren for months, right? Many have been concerned about the health and well-being and the health and loved ones of others. With the availability of the vaccines, we can start resuming some of our normal activities and get back together with family. So the pandemic has taken a toll on everyone. And when there's high stress, it's really hard to make health and well-being a priority. Okay. With all we have dealt with since the start of the pandemic, you could be burning the candle at both ends, and that candle might be ready to burn out, right? So perhaps in the midst of this global viral pandemic, there's an opportunity to hit that pause button. Catch your breath, regroup, and take stock. that stress is real. And let's review a couple key factors about stress and then discuss some simple and quick ways to stress and get present. And then shift our mindset towards calm resilience. So there are many different definitions of stress, and by nature, it's hard to really define because it means both the thing that stresses us out and our reaction to it. And it's a very personal experience for each and every one of us. It's something that is different too. But one definition that summarizes it well is stress is a perceived threat, whether real or imagined, to our mind, body, spirit, or emotions. So note that perceived stress and real stress create the same effect in the body, thus the importance of how we think about people and situations. It's important to note that the effects on the body we discussed with regard to acute stress also happen when we are under chronic stress. And they may not happen as intensively or abruptly but they still happen, right? And as humans, we're not designed to have stress response happening internally for really long periods of time with little to no breaks. So when this occurs, our body begins to break down and our quality of life diminishes. When stress occurs repeatedly, the chronic overstimulation of our nervous system can lead to suppressed immunity and decreased energy because our increased output of stress hormones. And that chronic stress is harmful. That's that mindset that we should keep in mind. And it's the direct cause of increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, and increased muscle tension. I know I always carry stress in my shoulders and my neck, and I can start to feel it towards the end of the day. So it's strongly connected to several conditions, including hypertension, chronic pain, like I mentioned before, that suppressed immune system, which can make our body more vulnerable to anything from colds to cancer to maybe even COVID, right? So keep in mind that stress is a bigger risk factor for predicting heart disease than lack of physical activity. So I want to ask you all, and I want you to type in the chat box, where do you notice stress showing up in your life and your body? You know I mentioned that I have it showing up in my neck and my shoulders, and I carry a lot of tension there, but where does it show up for you? Where do you feel that? If you can answer in the chat box, that'd be great. Again, stress, what it does to us, it depletes our energy, causes poor concentration, muscle tension, sleep difficulties, shoulders, chest, right? And your neck too. Absolutely. Yeah. So we all carry that in our bodies. So it's really important to make note of where you carry it so that you can start to work towards it. Shorter patience, right? We're irritable. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. So how do we balance all this out? This is where mindfulness comes in. So in periods where we have been asked to stay home, stay safe, and wash our hands frequently for 20 seconds, there's a notable shift towards slowing down in our lives. And people are seeing neighbors and their families out more in the community more than ever. And families are playing board games, those board games physically, not bored as in you're really bored. They're watching movies together, and they're maybe even having real conversations rather than conversing through text or by phone. So it might be a perfect time to examine values and priorities and live by those. What are the 3 to 5 most important things in your life? Are they family, work, friends, and faith? Is taking care of yourself on that list? So when you reflect and compare on what you say is most important to you and where you are spending and investing your time, are they congruent? Or is there a disconnect? So ask yourself these questions. What do you need to say no to or not yet to? What can you ask for help with? And what do you need to let go of? So although there are many ways to reduce stress, we're going to just focus on the 4 most important today. And those are using relaxation techniques, practicing mindfulness, cultivating effective thinking, and shifting our mindset on stress. So keep in mind that stress is going to be inevitable, and trying to change those stressors that are out of your control is going to be a complete waste of energy. Energy is better spent managing our own reactions and taking care of our own minds and bodies. And the formula for less stressed life is unique to each individual, and try to keep that in mind as we work through these. And the methods, find those methods that work best for you. You know, as I mentioned, those are different for everyone. So what might work for one person might not necessarily work for you. So it's important to just try them all out, right? And see which one really hones in for you and practice that regularly. All right. First, we need to create calm in the body so we feel calm in the mind, right? Therefore, we need to pause and then we breathe. In the next few slides, we're going to drill down some practicalities and strategies we can do in the moment of stress awareness to unplug from the stress response and bring the prefrontal cortex back online. Unplug, breathe, reevaluate what's important, and of value, and focus on the things, and don't be hypervigilant about the news. So almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. I love this quote, and that's by Anne Lamott. So these 7 self-care behaviors we're going to talk about, and these are simple self-care actions you can take during uncertain times, and we're going to practice a few of them today. And they are breath, mindfulness, meditation, self-compassion, gratitude, micro moments of positivity, and last but not least, effective thinking. So let's start with the first one, and that's breath. So we're going to do a little breathing exercise. So simple breathing, focusing on the inhale, hold, and the exhale for 4 to 4 cycles will get your prefrontal cortex back online. And this is called box breathing. So it's a breath of breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds, and then breathing back in for 4 seconds. So we're just going to go ahead and sit here and do a little bit of mindfulness, breath awareness. So we're going to take a few minutes to relax our body and mind, just using our breath right now. So I invite you to close your eyes or focus on this woman in front of you on the slide, and just really focusing on your breath. Like I said, if you want to close your eyes, that's fine, or just focus on one thing in front of you. So we'll begin with a few slow, deep breaths. Just kind of noticing the flow of air, maybe in through your nose and back out through your nose. Maybe even out through your mouth as we take an inhale in through our nose, and then back out through our mouth or our nose. And then each time you breathe in, breathe all the way down into your stomach. Breathe in slowly through your nose and feel your abdomen and lungs expand with air. After drawing in a long, deep breath through your nose, allow your breath to flow back out through your mouth. Just let go of each breath, and with it, release tension or stress that you might have been holding on to. You might like to mentally repeat the word relax as you breathe out. So try this now. Slowly draw in a deep breath. Don't rush it. Just breathe in. Gradually fill your lungs and abdomen with air, and when they are full, release that breath out completely. You're beginning to maybe feel yourself slowly relaxing, and your breath will dissolve the tension just as easily as a warm water would melt ice. Breathe in once again, fill your body with air, and when you're ready, release that breath. Let it flow out naturally. Breathe all the way out until your lungs are empty. And let's draw in that third final breath, nice and deep. Feel yourself relaxing as you gradually release the breath. Now let your breathing return to normal rhythm as we start to do a scan over our entire body, looking for those areas to maybe release tension. And as I mentioned each body part, I invite you to bring awareness to it. Relax it as deeply as you can. You don't need to concentrate too intensely on this task. Just feel or imagine the sensation of relaxation and relief moving through each of your body parts. It's quite common for people to store a lot of tension in their jaw and their muscles there. So let's begin at that point, our muscles in our jaw. Pay attention to your jaw for a moment. There are a number of very strong muscles in that area. Just mentally connect with this part of your body and relax it. Allow your jaw muscles to loosen and let go. Maybe release your tongue from the top of the roof of your mouth. Maybe open your mouth just slightly. Now let your attention wander to the muscles in your face. Allow your eye muscles to release and let your cheeks and forehead relax. Let this peaceful feeling flow down your neck. Feel it soothe your throat and dissolve any tension as it slowly glides down your shoulders. Let your shoulders go. Maybe give them a little shoulder roll to the back and to the front. Give them a moment of your attention and just mentally repeat the word relax as you let them soften, let go, and release all tension. Now bring your awareness to your arms. Feel and imagine them becoming loose and limp. They are relaxed and at peace, all the way from your shoulders through your wrists to the tips of your fingers. Now focus on the muscles of your back, all those muscles surrounding your spine. Let those muscles relax and let go. Now bring awareness to your chest and all the muscles that surround your rib cage. As you breathe in and out, send that mental note to this area of your body to relax. As you breathe in and out, feel your stomach gently rise and fall. Let your stomach soften and relax with each breath, and feel that releasing tension as each moment passes. You can feel yourself slipping into a state of deep relaxation. Now bring your attention to your thighs. Imagine all those strong supporting muscles beginning to relax and unwind. Your knees, your calves, your feet, let them all relax. Now notice how you feel. And go ahead and let me know in the chat box how you feel right now. This is called kind of progressive muscle relaxation. And I know I mentioned the box breathing before. You could also do that too as well. But notice how you feel. How do you feel right now after you were able to just draw your attention simply to your breath and your body? You can type that in the chat box if you'd like to share with everyone. Very relaxed, great, awesome. Okay. So with that, in the pause, the breath space that you can be present in the moment before proceeding with plans of action. So this quote says it very well. So between the stimulus and the response, there's a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So Frankl doesn't say it will be a big space. He doesn't say that we have a lot of power or that choosing the right response will be easy, but know that it is there. And what will you make of it? So in that pause, breathe the space you can use to be present in the moment before proceeding with plans and action. So there is a definition of mindfulness, and one of the gurus of that is Jon Kabat-Zinn. And one of the most impactful leaders of this time is him, whose work is really popularized in mindfulness. And he defines mindfulness as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present, and non-judgmentally. So we want to, whenever you bring awareness to what you're directly experiencing via your senses or your state of mind via your thoughts and your emotions, you're being mindful. And there's growing research showing that when you train your brain to be mindful, you're actually remodeling the physical structures of your brain. So mindfulness is observing without immediately reacting. You want to pay attention to your senses. Be fully present in that experience. or whatever experience you are focused on right now. Focus on one thing at a time and try to accept everything without trying to control it. And we want to do this by starting small. You want to start very small with these because obviously if you go too much, it could be rather overwhelming. So really the main thing is to start small and begin with small actions you do daily. So choose 1 or 2 actions to do more mindfully and practice them regularly. Gradually transfer the habit to bigger, more challenging parts of your life. And I encourage you to start being mindful by taking 1 or 2 elements of your daily routine and slowing down as you do it, noticing your mind and your body and experiencing the moment. Once you cultivate the ability to be more mindful in these small areas of your life and little things during low stress, you can then transfer your attitude and skills to larger and more stressful moments. Fortunately, there's no predefined starting place for practice of being mindful. So we can start right now. So let's start to flex that mindful brain muscle with some practice. So we want to pause and take notice. The first step is to notice, to really become aware of where your attention is directed. And so in most cases, you'll likely find that your attention is scattered, involved in the ordinary mental habit psychologists call mind wandering. So shift your attention intentionally. And that second step is to shift or redirect your attention to the present moment. You can do this by bringing your attention to any object of focus, kind of like we did with our breath and going through our body, our mind-body scan. And the breath, the sounds around you, maybe those sensations in your body that you feel, or even something you feel grateful for. So clearly, in order to start to be mindful, we need to bring the awareness to right now. So where are you now? Most of the day, we're kind of rehearsing for the future, or we're rehashing the past, and we often spend very little time in the present. So the only way for you to know is to become self-aware and then set that intention. Who or what is getting your attention right now? Even if that intention is to become more self-aware, that is an awesome first step, and you should definitely start there. In John's definition, there's 3 components to being mindfulness, or to be mindful and to practice mindfulness. He mentions paying attention in a purposeful way, with intention, and with an attitude of non-judgmental curiosity in the moment. While we go through the next few minutes defining what mindfulness is and how we can practice it, I invite you to really think about what it could feel like to be truly present in the moment and be able to take the human connection that fosters a trusting relationship. So if you have an illness, how can you be truly present, either while in treatment or in daily living, help you live your best life today? Energy flows where intention goes. Attention is that concentration of energy and takes place in the present. So you cannot give your attention to something without having intention to do so. Make your intention conscious so that you have control over where that attention is going. And intention is the underlying purpose for where you place your attention. Sometimes it's helpful to know what intention is. So ask yourself, if I put my attention here, what will be the likely outcome for me? You may discover that you'll be more calm, or I will be better able to listen to the person that I'm speaking with, and you will enjoy the moment more for what it brings you now. So we can all benefit from taking those steps to manage our stress and being more self-caring. But how does mindfulness help, and what exactly is it? So mindfulness is that skill you can develop to be present in the moment. It is essentially the brain muscle that can be strengthened with practice, and it all begins with self-awareness. Becoming mindful is not about emptying your mind or attaining a state of happiness or bliss. And we can start with using affirmations and positive self-talk. So negative self-talk is one of those biggest barriers to positive thinking. So affirmations are great positive statements that can help you challenge and overcome those self-sabotaging negative thoughts. So when you repeat them often and believe in them, you can start to make those positive changes. And many of us do repetitive exercises to improve our current physical health, and affirmations are like exercises for our mind and outlook. These positive mental repetitions can reprogram our thinking patterns so that over time, we'll be able to think and act differently. So especially when you find yourself slipping into negative thoughts, self-talk will help with not engaging in those negative behaviors. So we have loving kindness meditation, and loving kindness meditation is one of the most popular meditation techniques around. So the basic point of the loving kindness meditation is to focus loving energy towards oneself and towards others. So with this meditation, we're going to go ahead and do this right now. So carve out some quiet time for yourself. Right now, we can just kind of sit here and use this time. Go ahead and sit comfortably, close your eyes and relax your muscles and take a few deep cleansing breaths. Imagine yourself experiencing complete physical and emotional wellness and inner peace. Imagine feeling perfect love for yourself, thanking yourself for all that you do, knowing that you're just right, just as you are. Focus on the feeling of inner peace and visualize that you're breathing out tension and breathing in those feelings of love. Repeat 3 or 4 positive, reassuring phrases to yourself. There are several that will work, but I recommend the following. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be healthy, peaceful, and strong. May I give and receive appreciation today. Bask in that feeling for a few moments if your attention drifts to something else. Gently redirect it back to these feelings of loving kindness and let these feelings envelop for you. You can choose to either stay with the focus for the duration of the meditation or begin to shift your focus to loved ones in your life. And begin with someone who you are very close with. Maybe it's your spouse or your child or your parent or your best friend. Feel your gratitude and love for them. Stay with that feeling. You may want to repeat the following phrases or similar ones that bring about feelings of loving and kindness within you. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be healthy, peaceful, and strong. And once these feelings towards that person bring other important people from your life into awareness one by one, and envision them with perfect wellness and inner peace. Then branch out to other friends and family and neighbors and acquaintances, even other groups of people around the world. We often can use positive affirmations too as well to overcome those self-sabotaging negative thoughts. And next, come up with positive, credible achievement affirmation statements that are opposite to those thoughts. And repeat those affirmations several times a day, especially when you feel yourself slipping into that negative self-talk or engaging in that negative behavior. So some examples of this would be, I have plenty of creativity for this project. My work will be recognized in a positive way by my boss and colleagues. I can do this. That's one of my favorites. I always say that to myself. My team respects my values and my opinion. I am successful. I am honest in my life and in my work. I'm completing tasks and projects on time. I'm grateful for the job I have. I enjoy working with my team. I'm bringing a positive attitude to work every day. I'm excellent at what I do. I'm generous. I'm happy. I will be a leader in my organization. So you can practice that with positive affirmations. So again, this is just kind of flexing your brain to kind of give yourself these tools to help you to be more mindful. So it's important to remember that during the coronavirus pandemic, to be kind and compassionate with ourselves as we learn to adapt based on what we need to do to stay safe and be well. So it's common to be critical of ourselves in words and attitudes when we perceive we've made a mistake or we've dropped the ball in a situation. And from the work of Dr. Kristen Neff and her study on self-compassion, we learned that beating ourselves up doesn't not improve our behavior, right? We're definitely just bring ourselves down. So having that self-compassion practice is a necessary ingredient for life right now. Her research shows that 3 simple step processes serve to soften the disappointment in ourselves when we fail. And those 3 steps are mindfulness in the moment of suffering. So pause, breathe, and take note of what this experience feels like in one's body. And where is that feeling located? We have common humanity. Because we are human beings, we fall short and we make mistakes. And this is common. You're not alone in making those mistakes. It's okay. Express kindness to myself. So similar to how your best friend would speak to you or how a mother would comfort her child. So this might sound like, wow, I really dropped the ball by not following through with my commitment to blank. I feel bad. I'm not alone. This happens to other people too. I need to be kind to myself and look for new ways to perhaps get this done tomorrow. So kind of figure that out, and that's how it should sound. So let's take a brief moment to practice self-compassion in this moment. So mindfulness in the moment, it's not the first time you've asked yourself this question, right? Common humanity, you're not alone, right? Most people feel that life is filled with too many demands and too little time. Our self-compassion and kindness, bring this little self-forgiveness into the moment and say to yourself, I might not have it all figured out, and I'm still working on it. I'm making progress. Have that self-compassion for yourself. So many of us are feeling overwhelmed as we deal with all the things that are changing. I know it's so overwhelming, and losing our normal way of life, those possible economic losses, or losing our way of connecting with each other. We all need to take care of our mental health and focus on having positive attitude. And this is something we can practice every single day. Attitude of gratitude is so important. So a quote from the Wall Street Journal, adults who frequently feel grateful have more energy, more optimism, more social connections, and more happiness than those who do not. They're often less likely to be depressed, or they're often likely, to be depressed, envious, greedy, or alcoholics. They earn more money, sleep more soundly, and exercise more regularly, and have greater resilience to viral infections. So by practicing an attitude of gratitude, you can have so much more for your life. Ways to practice attitude of gratitude, you can keep a gratitude journal and document 3 things that you were grateful for today with no repeats. One thing is you could do is a gratitude jar, where I've often, every day, I will write something on a sticky note, fold it up, throw it into the jar. And then when at times where I'm feeling rather low, I might go into that jar and pull out one of those gratitude notes and read it to myself. If I'm feeling extra low, I might pull out a couple. So you can kind of keep that jar in a location in your home with the sticky pad right by it, so that once you notice something you're grateful for, go ahead and throw it into the jar. You can also use a journal too, like I mentioned, but the jar is often a little more tangible. Or if you use the journal, go ahead and thumb through those pages of that journal when you start to feel low to see what you were grateful for in that moment. You could write a thank you note. While you're at home, this is time to write someone who has shown you kindness. This will make you feel better, and they will get that mail they'll get that letter in the mail. I know I always appreciate getting snail mail. So what went well activity. You can do this at the end of each day and write down 3 things that went well today and why. You can stay connected using technology to stay in touch while staying safe at home. You can use FaceTime, Zoom, or Google Meet to maintain your social connections. I know for me, my 5-year-old nephew lives in LA across the country, and I have not been able to see him. We've been playing house party Uno. He loves it. It's a great way for all of us to have some fun while playing games, and also to keep connection with the younger generation too as well. It's lots of fun. We enjoy it. You want to pay attention to those small moments of positivity and look for and pay attention to the positive things that we have happen in our lives. So when we notice that positive emotion bubble up to our conscious awareness, you want to pause, appreciate, and savor the brief experience with a positive emotion. Laughter, Oh my goodness, this is the best. Laughter is the best medicine, right? We all need to make sure we're having some fun. Look for funny pet videos on the internet, or maybe subscribe to a joke of the day. Laughter draws people together in so many ways that trigger healthy physical and emotional changes in the body. So it strengthens your immune system, boosts your mood, diminishes pain, and protects you from those damaging effects of stress. And nothing works faster or more dependently to bring your mind, body back to balance than a good laugh, a good belly laugh. Just even start doing hee, hoo, hoo, hee. Eventually you'll just start laughing at yourself because you may find yourself, you sound ridiculous. And it's just one of those, practices that you can just start to belly laugh after by doing that. Humor tightens your burdens, inspires hope, connects you to others, and keeps you grounded, focused, and alert. And last but not least, you want to limit your time spending watching the news or being on social media, and get those informations in small doses from reliable sources like the Centers of Disease Control or the Florida Department of Health or Florida Blue's COVID-19 website page. Research has shown that positive emotions and interventions can bolster health, achievement, and resilience, and can buffer against depression and anxiety. And Martin Seligman says about that. Barbara Fredrickson is a PDH and is a positive psychologist scientist who wrote Positivity and Love 2.0, Through her research on positive emotions, she determined that when we mindfully experience positive emotions in the moment, she coined that phrase, micro moments of positivity, such as joy, interest, contentment, and the love they collect in that spark and play and exploration and savoring. Also, that mindful experience of love results in openness towards each other, and these urges to play and exploration are out there within safe, close relationships. And the concept of enjoying those micro moments of positivity in your day encourages us to pause when we experience that positive emotion and notice it. Pause to experience it, appreciate it, savor it. Let the energy of positive emotions flow through your heart, to your mind, and the rest of your body. This is the essence of what Dr. Seligman refers to when he says, be mindful and savor the positive moments you experience. Next, we want to talk about effective thinking. So here's an acronym to remember, TFAR. Your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions, which create your results. So if you're feeling stressed frequently and acting in ways that exacerbate stress, the best way to change that is to focus on your thoughts, since your thoughts are the dictator or how you will feel and what you will do. So many times we focus on what we can do differently to feel less stressed, but often we overlook the importance of attending to our thinking patterns. So cultivating gratitude can help you reframe the situation so you see it in a more positive light. So even without a gratitude check, you can work to reframing the situations you perceive to be stressful by asking, how else could I interpret this situation? Will this really matter 10 years down the road? What's the bigger picture here? What's really important? There are many ways to develop a more effective thinking habit. Practicing gratitude is one of those, and one of the most important. So note the word practice. You have to practice these things before they become a natural part and a way of life. And you have to practice a new skill or sport or language before it becomes second nature too. So it's that same concept. Just remember the acronym TFAR. So we went through the 7 self-care actions listed on the slide. What jumped out at you? Go ahead and write that in the chat box. We talked about breath, mindfulness, meditation, self-compassion, gratitude, micro moments of positivity, and effective thinking. Which of these will help you the most right now? Go ahead and share that with us in the chat box. Micro moments of positivity, gratitude, being more present, self-compassion, absolutely. Awesome. Mindfulness. Great. Love it. What will help you the most right now? What kind of jumped out? Anyone else? Great. Thank you for sharing that. So in addition to those 7 self-care actions we talked about just a moment ago, let's not forget about the other ways we need to take care of ourselves while we're living through this time. These 6 healthy lifestyle behaviors from David Katz, MD, include moderate physical activity, eating wholesome, nutritious food, being a non-tobacco user, practicing stress management techniques, getting a good night's sleep, and having relationships of connection. A simple way he helps us to remember these 6 are: feet, be physically active; forks, eat real, nourishing food; fingers, be a non-tobacco user; stress, practice stress management; sleep, get a good night's sleep; love, engage in relationships, whether it be family, social, self, or spiritual. And Dr. Katz said, if we did not smoke, ate well, and were physically active, we could eradicate up to 80% of all chronic disease in the world today. Since the paper, Actual Causes of Death in the United States by Doctors William Forge and Michael McGinnis was published in 1993, has been a repetitive drumbeat in the peer-reviewed literature telling us exactly the same thing over and over again with stunning consistency. For the most part, through modern cultures have failed to turn that knowledge and power into routine action, and so we are still awash in preventable chronic disease. My hope is to live to see that change. And that was just an interview with the WELCOA president in 2015. So hopefully we can live to see that change in our lives. Many of us have delayed or avoided routine medical care during the pandemic and avoided hospitals and emergency rooms for fear of contracting COVID-19. But by June 30th, 2020, because of concerns about COVID-19, an estimated 41% of US adults had delayed or avoided medical care, including urgent or emergency care and routine care. Avoidance of urgent or emergency care was more prevalent among unpaid caregivers for adults, persons with underlying medical conditions, Black adults, Hispanic adults, young adults, and persons with disability. Medical care delay or avoidance will increase morbidity and mortality risk associated with the treatable and preventable health conditions. So it's so important for you to check in with your primary care doctor and not miss those annual wellness visits. If you have an ongoing health condition, make sure your condition is being managed and you can get the medications that you need. And again, schedule your annual wellness visit and any other screenings recommended with your doctor's office. If you're nervous about going, ask them about what additional procedures they have put in place to help keep you safe. And if you have a family member who usually goes with you to these doctor's appointments, post-COVID restrictions are limiting their access by asking them to stay in the waiting room while you are taken in as a patient. So obviously family members want to be in the waiting room with the obviously those family members want to be in the room with the member, with yourself, while the doctor's giving you your appointment. And the Florida Blues Centers have community specialists you can call as a resource too as well. So virtual care is available for you at zero cost share. So you can set up your account with your medical history at teladoc.com or download the app, and you connect by phone or the app anywhere and get medical treatment for those non-emergency conditions. And it's important to be up to date on all your vaccines and make sure your children are up to date on their vaccines as well. So Publix, Walgreens, and Winn-Dixie have those vaccinations available on site. So both the Florida Council on Aging and Florida Academy of Pediatrics are reporting that concerns of vaccination rates in general have decreased for children and adults due to the delaying of preventive care. So the Council on Aging is concerned that there could be a measles outbreak due to fewer children being being up to date on their MMR and affecting grandparents. So kind of important there. Just remember to follow up with your primary care doctor. So let's talk about how we can start today to practice what we've discussed throughout our presentation. So we're going to create a plan for tiny step behaviors that will move us in the direction of living a healthier life. So now it's time to pause, breathe, reflect, and take stock. Of the self-care behaviors we've reviewed today, is there one that stood out to you as one that you're ready to work on? You can share that with us in the chat. So go ahead and think about what you would like to work towards and write it down. Maybe write it in the chat or just jot it down on a note in front of you. And identify very few very small steps that you can take to move you towards that self-care behavior. Make the steps so small, you know you got this and that you can do it. Anchor your step to a behavior you're already doing each day and reward yourself when you do the new behavior. So for example, after I wake up in the morning and use the bathroom, I'm going to sit in a comfortable chair and meditate for 5 minutes. After I've done that, I'm going to say out loud, "Great job, way to start the day." Yes, eating better, forks, absolutely. Thank you, Nikki, for sharing, having at least one good meal a day, right? Or one good snack. Definitely focusing on that small. You can even go smaller if you wanted to. So breathing exercise is awesome, Melanie. So I want to thank you all. This concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for coming this morning and listening to me. I really hope that you've got some tools that you can add to your toolbox to pull out when you're starting to feel stressed or anxious about life in general, and just really start to use these things that we talked about today to help yourself. And I want to thank you again for participating. And I hope you can explore these self-care behaviors we discussed today and practice them so that you will get better at them. Stay safe and stay well, and we'll get all through this together. And I do want to mention real quick that we do have a Medicare webinar coming up on Wednesday, May 19th. So this Medicare webinar will focus on the COVID vaccine update, and Dr. Malco, our Medicare Chief Medical Officer, will be speaking to that. And that's at 12:30 Eastern Time on May 19th. And Candace is going to go ahead and share that with you after the presentation today. So please feel free to share that with family and friends. So thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. I'm going to turn it back over to Candace.
Thank you, Michelle. That was great information. I know I kind of took away some tips that I can use in my own life, things to be more mindful of. You know, I was thinking about maybe spend a little more time outside, getting some fresh air, maybe taking a walk first thing in the morning before I get my day started, or, you know, in the evening when the sun starts to go down. And I love watching the sunset. So that's kind of little self-care acts for me. But Michelle, I wanted to ask you, you know, as caregivers, sometimes it's so hard to make any kind of time throughout the day, especially when caregiving can be very unpredictable. You know, things come up that you didn't start your day thinking you would have to deal with. So do you have any tips on maybe how to make time during your day, even if it's a few minutes, things that you can do for self-care, maybe when you're facing, you know, a small crisis, or, you know, you have to do something that you just really didn't want to do? What are some ways that you can really make time and prioritize self-care?
Great question. Definitely hard. You know, people think, oh, I'll do that later. It's not important. Well, really, it's really important, because the longer you wait to address that, the more buildup it'll become and the harder it will be to get to it. So really just try to carve out 5 minutes of your day, whether it's just 5 minutes of sitting there quiet and alone, just focusing on your breath, or writing down in a journal what you're grateful for. Just 5 minutes each day, literally, right? You know, right when you wake up in the morning is the best time, because then you haven't gotten your day already started. So maybe there's not those influences there. So definitely just focusing on the small. I mean, I know I mentioned that before. 5 minutes, literally. Maybe if it's not 5 minutes that you have, 3 minutes, whatever it is, building from there can then help you. You'll notice that once you start with 5 minutes, it'll be easier for you to get up to 10 minutes or 20 minutes once you notice those effects of those self-care behaviors. So really, the one thing I turn back to every single time is your breath. It's free. It's there. It's always available for you. Focusing in on your breath, saying a positive mantra. I'm breathing in calm. I'm breathing out stress. Whatever it is, something small, just that something small you can focus on will really help. So I think that's a huge part of it. People think I have to do 20 minutes of meditation every day. No, 2 minutes, 1 minute, any time devoted towards your self-care is going to be beneficial to you.
Awesome. And we had a suggestion in the chat to schedule it and write it down. I think that's
absolutely
a suggestion. Maybe I like to set reminders in my phone for certain things. So maybe setting a reminder in your phone, you know, for sometime in the afternoon to take a 5-minute breath break. You know, no matter what you're doing, take 5 minutes to kind of calm and center yourself and practice some of those breathing and mindfulness activities. That's a great suggestion. You know, there's some really cool apps that are out right now. I wish I could remember them. I know Calm is one of them, but that have guided meditation and breathing exercises.
Absolutely. Yep. Headspace is one of them. That's a free app that you can download. And also they have different videos and things that you can use. Maybe, for instance, you feel you can't go back to sleep. Maybe you've woken up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep. Well, they have ones that will focus you on that deep relaxation so you can fall back to sleep. So there's so many different videos out there based on whatever needs you may have. So like I said, that app is Headspace. And I think that's one of my favorites. But there's tons of others too. But just kind of going out there to see what's available to you and you know, trying it out. You never know what could work. Absolutely. And scheduling it too. Absolutely. If you've got a calendar that you can put it on or a reminder in your phone, like you said, Candace, that's a great way to do it. Absolutely.
In the chat, somebody said, you cannot give away what you don't have. Care and compassion for others has to begin with care and compassion for self. Easier said than done, I know. Absolutely. But what a beautiful point. I mean, you can't, if you don't have the care and compassion for yourself, how can you expect, you know, to share that with others? Just, I mean, you know, that's the whole gist of our conference, how you can't pour from an empty cup, you know? So how can you, what are ways that you can fill your cup? So thank you for that. Very meaningful.
You're welcome. Thank you again, everyone.